The airport was alive with movement, a constant flow of people, each seemingly rushing to a destination. The air carried a mix of hurried conversations, the mechanical drone of suitcases rolling over tiled floors, and the occasional chime of flight announcements echoing through the terminal. Amid the chaos, the entrance to the VIP lounge stood as a beacon of calm. Its velvet ropes gleamed under the bright overhead lights, separating the exclusive from the ordinary. The doors, with their frosted glass panels, promised quiet luxury and a respite from the hustle outside. Erica Monroe approached the entrance with measured steps. She carried herself with a natural poise, her crisp white blouse and tailored pants radiating quiet confidence. She wasn't one for flashy jewelry or loud displays of wealth. Her understated elegance spoke for itself. To any observer, she might have appeared like any other traveler. But Erica was far from ordinary. She adjusted the strap of her leather tote bag and glanced at the small group already in line. They were the typical VIP lounge patrons, men in designer suits clutching smartphones, women draped in luxury scarves and oversized sunglasses, all exuding an air of entitlement. Erica noticed the curious glances cast her way, subtle but unmistakable. A few exchanged looks, their silent judgments written all over their faces. She doesn't belong here, those glances seemed to say. When it was her turn, Erica stepped forward, offering a polite smile to the receptionist behind the podium. The young woman, impeccably dressed in a fitted blazer, greeted her with a tight-lipped smile. "Good afternoon," Erica said, her voice calm and warm as she slid her boarding pass across the counter. The receptionist picked up the pass, her manicured nails clicking against the polished surface. Her eyes darted to the name printed on it, then back to Erica. "Excuse me, ma'am," the receptionist said, her tone polite but distant. "This lounge is for VIP guests only." The words were spoken with practiced ease, but the undercurrent of dismissal was hard to miss. Erica tilted her head slightly, her polite smile unwavering. "I understand. My ticket should qualify me for access." The receptionist didn't even glance at the ticket again. Instead, she gave Erica a quick, assessing glance that seemed to sum up her entire worth in less than a second. "I'm sorry," the receptionist replied, her tight smile returning. "But we have strict policies here. Only first-class passengers or elite members are permitted entry." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Around them, the murmurs of other travelers softened. A few people nearby seemed to be watching, their expressions a mix of curiosity and amusement. Erica felt the weight of their stares but didn't flinch. She had been here before, not this exact lounge, but this moment, this treatment. The subtle yet pointed exclusion was all too familiar. Taking a slow breath, Erica leaned forward slightly, keeping her tone light. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. My ticket is for first class." The receptionist hesitated, her tight smile faltering for a fraction of a second. Then she quickly recovered, her professional mask snapping back into place. "I'm afraid I can't allow you entry," she said, her voice firmer this time. "You might want to try the general waiting area just down the hall." The general waiting area. Erica glanced toward the crowded seating area visible through the large glass windows. People sat shoulder to shoulder, balancing paper coffee cups and fast food bags on their laps. Children cried, and frustrated parents tried to quiet them. The contrast to the serene luxury of the VIP lounge couldn't have been starker. For a brief moment, Erica's polite demeanor wavered. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and a flicker of something frustration, disappointment, crossed her face. But it was gone as quickly as it appeared. "I see," she said quietly. With that, Erica took her boarding pass and stepped aside. The receptionist, satisfied, turned her attention to the next guest, her dismissive tone replaced with a sugary warmth as she greeted them. Behind Erica, someone in line let out a soft chuckle. "She really thought she could get in," a man muttered under his breath, just loud enough to ensure she heard. Erica didn't turn around. She didn't need to. She walked away from the lounge entrance, her heels clicking softly against the tile floor. She found a quiet corner near the expansive terminal windows and set down her bag. Outside, planes taxied across the runway, their sleek forms glinting in the afternoon sun. Erica sat down, her posture still composed. She pulled out her phone, her fingers gliding over the screen as she typed a quick message. Her expression remained calm, but her mind was anything but. She thought about the receptionist's condescending smile, the whispered remarks, the assumptions made about her before she even said a word. This wasn't the first time Erica had faced treatment like this. But today was different. Because today, Erica wasn't just passing through. She wasn't here to simply wait for her flight. And she certainly wasn't here to be turned away. No, today was about something much bigger. As she set her phone down, a small, knowing smile tugged at the corners of her lips. The staff at the VIP lounge thought they knew who she was. But they had no idea. And soon, they were about to find out. The airport's terminal buzzed with life around her, yet Erica felt oddly detached from it all. The sting of the receptionist's dismissal lingered in her chest, not because she hadn't experienced it before, but because of how effortlessly it had been delivered, so natural, so casual. Her gaze drifted to the lounge entrance, where new guests were being greeted with smiles and enthusiasm. The staff's warmth seemed reserved only for a select few, a club she had apparently been deemed unfit to join. Erica adjusted her posture, crossing her legs and resting her elbow on the arm of her chair. Her phone buzzed softly on the table next to her, but she didn't pick it up right away. Instead, she let her eyes wander, observing the scene around her. Nearby, a family struggled to corral their energetic children, who were chasing each other between the seats. A harried-looking businessman barked instructions into his phone, his voice rising above the din. A young woman curled up in a corner, her headphones drowning out the world as she scrolled through her laptop. The general waiting area was a melting pot of humanity, messy, loud, and unapologetically chaotic. Erica didn't mind it, but it wasn't where she was meant to be today. Picking up her phone, she opened her email. A flood of unread messages greeted her, but one in particular caught her eye. The subject line read, "Final confirmation, VIP lounge acquisition." Her lips curled into a faint smile as she tapped the email open. "Ms. Monroe, we're pleased to confirm that the final transfer of ownership for the VIP lounge has been completed. As of 9 a.m. this morning, you are now the sole proprietor of the property and its operations. Congratulations." Erica let out a quiet breath, the weight of the moment settling over her. She'd spent months working on this deal, navigating endless negotiations, legal hurdles, and financial arrangements. It hadn't been easy, but then again, nothing worthwhile ever was. Her smile grew as she thought about the irony of it all. The very lounge that had turned her away now belonged to her. But Erica wasn't impulsive. She wasn't going to march back to the entrance and announce her ownership like a dramatic scene from a movie. No, she wanted to take her time, to savor the moment, to ensure that every person who had doubted or dismissed her would feel the full weight of their misjudgment. Back at the VIP lounge entrance, the receptionist whose name tag read Lisa was in her element. She greeted each new guest with practiced charm, her smile widening as she checked their tickets and credentials. "Welcome back, Mr. Harris," she said warmly to a man in a tailored suit. "I hope you enjoy your stay." The man gave a curt nod and strode inside, not sparing Lisa so much as a glance. Lisa didn't mind. She was used to it. Working at the VIP lounge meant interacting with high-profile travelers every day, celebrities, executives, politicians. She prided herself on maintaining her professionalism, even when some of them were less than polite. But there were moments, rare, fleeting moments, when she let her personal biases creep in. Like earlier, with that woman in the white blouse. Lisa hadn't meant to be rude, exactly. but something about her had seemed off. Too plain, too unassuming, too ordinary to belong in the VIP lounge. Lisa didn't dwell on it for long. She had more important things to focus on. "Ms. Monroe, everything is set," the voice on the other end of the line said. Erica leaned back in her chair, her eyes fixed on the lounge entrance. "Good. I'll head over shortly." Her assistant hesitated, then added, "Are you sure you don't want me to accompany you? It might help smooth things over." Erica chuckled softly. "I appreciate the offer, but no. This is something I need to handle on my own." She ended the call and stood up, smoothing the front of her blouse. Her reflection in the glass caught her attention, a composed, confident woman ready to reclaim her power. Taking a deep breath, Erica picked up her bag and began walking toward the lounge. The sound of Erica's heels clicking against the tiled floor grew louder as she approached the velvet ropes once more. Lisa glanced up, her smile faltering for a split second before she recovered. "Back again?" Lisa asked, her tone light but edged with condescension. Erica returned her gaze with calm intensity. "Yes, I'd like to speak with the manager." Lisa's eyebrows lifted slightly. "The manager? May I ask why?" Erica's smile was polite but firm. "It's a matter of ownership." Lisa blinked, clearly puzzled. "Ownership?" Before she could say anything more, another staff member appeared, a middle-aged man with a clipboard and a distracted expression. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, glancing between Erica and Lisa. Erica turned her attention to him, her voice steady. "Not a problem. Just a matter of clarification. I believe you'll find everything you need in this document." She reached into her bag and produced a neatly folded piece of paper, which she handed to him. The man unfolded the document and scanned its contents. His expression shifted from confusion to shock, his eyes darting back to Erica. This is," he stammered. "Yes," Erica said, her tone unwavering. "As of this morning, I am the owner of this lounge." Lisa's mouth fell open, her professional mask slipping entirely. The man with the clipboard quickly straightened, his demeanor shifting to one of respect. "Ms. Monroe, I apologize. I had no idea." Erica held up a hand, stopping him mid-sentence. "No need for apologies. But I think we need to have a conversation about the way this lounge is being run." Lisa stood frozen, her face pale. She looked as though she wanted to sink into the floor. Erica turned to her, her voice calm but sharp. "It seems there's been a misunderstanding about who belongs here and who doesn't. I'd like to ensure that doesn't happen again." The lounge staff exchanged nervous glances, the weight of the moment settling over them. "You might want to try the standard waiting area down the hall," the receptionist said, her voice carrying an unmistakable edge of condescension. She motioned vaguely toward the crowded seating area visible through the terminal's large windows. The general waiting area, a chaotic sea of travelers sprawled across mismatched chairs, some huddled around phone chargers while others juggled fast food and restless children. The receptionist didn't bother to lower her voice. Her words, casual yet cutting, carried just far enough for a few nearby passengers to hear. The implication was crystal clear: you don't belong here. Erica Monroe didn't immediately respond. She simply stood there, holding the ticket that had been thrust back into her hand, her fingers brushing against its edges as she processed what had just happened. Around her, the faint hum of conversation seemed to shift. Heads turned, some discreetly, others openly. A couple across the lounge exchanged smirks, their amusement evident. A man in a tailored suit adjusted his watch, casting a quick glance at Erica before returning to his phone, his expression one of thinly veiled disdain. Erica could feel their gazes, their silent judgments bearing down on her. She looked down at the ticket in her hand, then back at the receptionist. "I see," she said quietly, her voice calm and measured. The receptionist, a young woman with perfectly styled hair and an immaculate uniform, hesitated for a fraction of a second. Something about Erica's tone, controlled, almost too calm, seemed to unsettle her. But the hesitation was brief. She quickly recovered, her practiced smile returning as she moved on to the next guest. "Next, please," she called out, ignoring Erica as though she had already faded into the background. For a moment, Erica remained where she was, rooted to the spot. She could have argued, could have demanded to speak with a manager, could have made a scene. But that wasn't her style. Instead, she turned and walked away, her heels clicking softly against the polished floor. Erica chose a seat near the expansive floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the runway. Outside, planes taxied across the tarmac, their sleek forms glinting in the late afternoon sun. The view was peaceful, almost soothing, an odd contrast to the storm brewing inside her. She set her bag down beside her and sank into the chair, her posture as poised as ever. But beneath the surface, her mind raced. The receptionist's words replayed in her head, each syllable sharpening her resolve. It wasn't just the rejection that stung, it was the way it had been delivered, dripping with assumption and arrogance. It was a scenario Erica knew all too well. She had spent her entire life navigating spaces where people like her were often underestimated, ignored, or outright dismissed. Her success, her achievements, her hard-earned place in the world, none of it seemed to matter in moments like these. They saw only what they wanted to see. A soft chuckle from somewhere nearby drew Erica's attention. She glanced over to see two women sitting a few rows away, their heads bent close together as they whispered. One of them gestured subtly in Erica's direction, and the other covered her mouth to stifle a laugh. Erica turned her gaze back to the window, her expression unreadable. But inside, the fire that had sparked earlier now roared. She wasn't angry, not in the way people often thought of anger. Hers was a quieter, colder kind of fury, one that simmered just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to be unleashed. And that moment was coming. Lisa, the receptionist, was in the middle of scanning another guest's boarding pass when she caught a glimpse of Erica through the glass doors. To her surprise, Erica wasn't leaving the terminal. Instead, she had taken a seat nearby, her posture calm and composed as she looked out over the runway. Lisa frowned slightly. Most people, when turned away from the VIP lounge, left quickly, embarrassed or defeated. But not Erica. What's her deal? Lisa wondered. But the thought didn't linger. She had more important things to focus on, like the line of passengers waiting to be checked in. "Welcome back, Mr. Daniels," Lisa said with a bright smile, her attention snapping back to the task at hand. She handed the man his boarding pass and gestured toward the lounge entrance. As the man walked through the frosted glass doors, Lisa straightened her blazer and prepared to greet the next guest. To her, Erica was already forgotten. Erica reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. The polished device felt cool against her palm as she scrolled through her contacts. She found the number she was looking for and pressed the call button. "Ms. Monroe," came the voice on the other end, a deep, professional tone that carried just a hint of nervousness. "Is everything all right?" Erica's lips curved into a faint smile. "It's fine, Richard. But I need you to confirm something for me." "Of course," Richard replied quickly. "What do you need?" "The lounge," Erica said, her voice steady. "Has the transfer been finalized?" There was a brief pause. Then Richard spoke again, his tone more confident this time. "Yes, ma'am. The papers were signed this morning. As of 9 a.m., the VIP lounge is officially under your ownership." Erica leaned back in her chair, her gaze still fixed on the runway outside. "Good," she said simply. "Is there anything else I can assist you with?" Richard asked, his voice tinged with curiosity. Erica considered the question for a moment before replying, "Not yet. I'll handle the rest myself." She ended the call and slipped her phone back into her bag. For the first time since her encounter with the receptionist, a genuine smile spread across her face. The terminal's background noise seemed to fade as Erica rose from her seat, her movements deliberate and unhurried. She adjusted her tote bag over her shoulder and smoothed the front of her blouse before turning toward the lounge entrance. Each step she took was purposeful, her heels clicking softly against the tiled floor. She wasn't just walking, she was making a statement. As she approached the velvet ropes, the receptionist glanced up and immediately stiffened. Lisa's professional smile faltered for the briefest moment before she quickly recovered. "You're back," Lisa said, her tone carefully neutral. "Yes," Erica replied, her voice calm but firm. "And this time, I'd like to speak with the manager." Lisa hesitated, her brows knitting together in confusion. "The manager? May I ask why?" Erica's eyes met Lisa's, her gaze steady and unwavering. "It's a matter of ownership." For a split second, Lisa looked genuinely puzzled. But as the weight of Erica's words began to sink in, her expression shifted to one of growing unease. "Ownership?" Lisa echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Erica didn't respond right away. She simply reached into her bag and pulled out a neatly folded document, which she handed to Lisa. The receptionist unfolded the paper with trembling hands, her eyes scanning its contents. And then, it hit her. The color drained from Lisa's face as she looked back at Erica, her mouth opening and closing as though searching for the right words. Lisa stood frozen, the neatly typed words on the document swimming before her eyes. She reread the bold letters at the top: notice of transfer of ownership, and the signature at the bottom, unmistakably that of a senior executive. Erica let the silence stretch, her calm demeanor unshaken as Lisa struggled to respond. "Is there a problem?" Erica asked, her tone almost too polite, her question an elegant nudge to break Lisa's spiraling thoughts. Lisa stammered, her voice faltering. I'll need to speak with the manager." "Please do," Erica replied smoothly, gesturing toward the lounge. The receptionist hastily excused herself, clutching the document like a lifeline as she disappeared through the frosted glass doors. Erica remained at the entrance, exuding an air of calm confidence. Though she didn't look around, she could feel the weight of the stares directed at her. Inside the lounge, patrons were beginning to murmur. Conversations hushed as heads turned toward the glass doors, where Erica stood waiting. "Is she coming back?" a man in a tailored gray suit asked, his voice low as he glanced toward the entrance. "I don't know," replied his companion, a woman with an expensive leather tote perched on the table in front of her. "But she doesn't look like she's leaving, does she?" Across the room, a younger man with earbuds dangling from his neck leaned toward his travel partner. "What do you think's going on?" "She's just standing there." His partner shrugged, but their curious gaze remained fixed on Erica. Unbothered by the attention, Erica adjusted her posture, her expression giving nothing away. She didn't need to explain herself to anyone soon, they would all understand. Lisa re-emerged moments later, trailing behind a tall man in his early 40s. His name tag read Stephen Carter, manager. Stephen's pace was brisk, his expression composed but tinged with confusion as Lisa handed him the document. "Ms. Monroe," he began, his tone cautious but respectful. "I'm Stephen Carter, the lounge manager. May I ask what brings you here today?" Erica raised an eyebrow, her gaze cool and assessing. "I believe the document in your hands explains that, Mr. Carter." Stephen glanced down at the paper, scanning its contents quickly but thoroughly. As he read, his face went through a series of changes: first confusion, then dawning realization, and finally a flicker of panic. This can't be right," he muttered, his grip tightening on the paper. "It is," Erica replied, her voice calm and certain. "You'll find everything is in order. I suggest you take a moment to review it." Stephen hesitated, then nodded. Of course. Please, follow me to my office while I verify this. Erica gave a faint smile. I'd rather not. Her words hung in the air, startling both Stephen and Lisa. If you need to confirm the details, feel free to do so here, Erica continued, her tone polite but firm. I'm not going anywhere. With the lounge manager momentarily occupied, Erica took a step forward, crossing the threshold into the exclusive space. The murmur of conversation inside the lounge faltered, replaced by a tense silence as guests watched her enter. She moved gracefully, her every step deliberate as she surveyed the room. The air of casual luxury, the leather chairs, the soft lighting, the endless array of refreshments seemed almost out of place amidst the charged atmosphere. A woman seated near the coffee station shifted uncomfortably, her gaze darting between Erica and her companions. A man seated at the bar glanced toward the staff, as though expecting someone to intervene. But no one did. Erica's presence was undeniable, her calm confidence silencing any unspoken objections. She chose a seat near the center of the lounge, her movements unhurried. Setting her bag down beside her, she folded her hands neatly in her lap and leaned back, her posture as composed as ever. Behind the counter, two attendants exchanged whispered words, their eyes flicking nervously toward Erica. Do you think she's supposed to be here? One of them asked, her voice barely audible. I don't know, the other replied, glancing toward the frosted glass doors where Stephen had disappeared. But Stephen's been gone a while. At a nearby table, a young professional with a sleek laptop leaned toward his colleague. Who do you think she is? He asked, his curiosity evident. No idea, the colleague replied, adjusting her glasses. But she's not acting like someone who just got turned away. Throughout the lounge, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged. Whispers rippled across the room, speculation and curiosity mounting with each passing moment. And Erica remained at the center of it all, unmoved by the rising tension. When Stephen finally reappeared, the document still in hand, his usually confident demeanor was noticeably shaken. He stepped into the lounge, his gaze scanning the room until it landed on Erica. Ms. Monroe, he said, his voice carrying a note of urgency. I've verified the transfer. Everything checks out. A collective gasp rippled through the lounge. Guests exchanged startled glances, their earlier assumptions crumbling in an instant. Stephen turned toward the assembled guests and staff, clearing his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his tone formal, I'd like to introduce Ms. Erica Monroe, the new owner of this lounge. The silence that followed was deafening. Erica's fingers moved deftly over her phone screen, each tap deliberate and purposeful. To the casual observer, she might have seemed like any other traveler killing time during a layover. But Erica wasn't idly scrolling or responding to emails. She was orchestrating a calculated plan, a plan months in the making. Her team was spread across time zones, some working from sleek office buildings, others from the comfort of their homes. But each one was crucial. They knew this was no ordinary transaction, it was personal. Erica scrolled through her messages, pausing at a recent email. The subject line read, Acquisition finalized, VIP lounge transfer of ownership. A faint smile tugged at her lips as she reread the confirmation. The lounge that had just dismissed her so readily now belonged to her. But Erica wasn't one for hasty confrontations. She thrived on precision and timing, and this moment required both. Inside the exclusive lounge, the air hummed with a strange energy. Conversations faltered as guests occasionally glanced toward the glass doors, where Erica remained seated in the waiting area. She's still there, one woman whispered to her companion, her designer scarf draped elegantly over her shoulder. Do you think she's waiting for someone? The companion replied, her tone curious but dismissive. Nearby, a businessman adjusted his tie, stealing a glance at Erica. I don't think so. Did you see how she looked at the staff earlier? She doesn't seem like someone who gets turned away easily. Across the room, A younger couple exchanged speculative glances. She doesn't seem upset, though, the woman said, her voice low. If it were me, I'd be furious. She's probably just pretending to stay calm, the man replied, leaning closer. People like that always want to save face. But Erica's calm wasn't a facade. It was the quiet confidence of someone who knew the cards she held. Everything's finalized, Erica, Naomi's voice came through the line, steady and efficient. The paperwork is signed, and the board has approved the transfer. It's all yours. Erica nodded slightly, her eyes scanning the room as she listened. Good. Have you notified the staff yet? Not yet, Naomi replied. We wanted to wait for your signal. Hold off for now, Erica said, her tone thoughtful. I want to handle this in person. Naomi hesitated.